I'm Young Buzz. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a comeback that a lot of people have been waiting for, and honestly, one that already feels powerful even before we know the full details. IVE is officially preparing to make a comeback at the end of February. And if you've been following their journey closely, you know this is not just another routine return. This comeback comes with expectations, pressure, excitement, and a big question mark hanging in the air. How will IVE top themselves this time? So let's break this down together, not just the news, but what it really means for IVE, for DIVE, and for the current K-pop landscape. According to Starship Entertainment, confirmed through a phone call with Dispatch on the 16th, IVE is currently working toward a comeback scheduled for the end of February. The agency said the members are busy preparing for the album and that detailed schedules will be announced later, asking fans for continued anticipation. Now, this might sound like a standard agency statement, but for IVE, timing is everything. This comeback comes after about 6 months since their last release. In K-pop, 6 months is long enough for anticipation to build, but not so long that people forget your momentum. And that's important, because IVE is a group that thrives on momentum. Every comeback they've had so far hasn't just been successful, it's been conversation dominating. Personally, I think this timing is smart. The end of February is a competitive period, but it's also a time when listeners are ready for something fresh after the early year releases. IVE stepping in at that moment feels calculated, and Starship has been surprisingly strategic with IVE's career so far. But I want to know what you think. Do you prefer shorter gaps between comebacks, or do you like when groups take a little more time to build hype? Let me know in the comments. To understand why this comeback is such a big deal, we need to talk about where IVE left off. Their fourth mini-album, IVE SECRET, was released in August last year, and it included 6 songs with the title track XXXG. And honestly, that era was huge. First of all, XXXG wasn't just a song, it was a concept. The term itself is a neologism coined by IVE, meaning I love you, sleep well, and see you in my dreams. That alone tells you how intentional the group is about building their own language and identity. The songs sensually expressed complex emotions, blending sweetness with something a little mysterious, and that balance worked incredibly well. When XXXG was released, the response was immediate. It entered the top spot on Melon's Hot 100 and Vibe's Domestic Rapid Rise chart right after release. And we're not just talking about local success. Globally, the song topped charts like Billboard's top current album sales, and global excluding the US. This is where I want to pause and give my personal opinion. At this point, IVE is no longer a rookie sensation or a fourth-gen it group. They've crossed into the category of reliable hitmakers. Every release comes with an expectation that it will chart, trend, and dominate discussions. And that's both a blessing and a burden. Let's be real for a moment. When a group keeps winning, the pressure increases with every comeback. For IVE, the bar is already very high. Fans expect quality. The general public expects something catchy. Critics expect growth. And international listeners expect global appeal. So the question becomes, what direction will IVE take this time? Will they continue the sensual, dreamy storytelling style they explored with XXXG? Or will they pivot into something bolder, more aggressive, or more experimental? This is where I think IVE's next move is crucial. Repeating the same formula might still be successful, but it risks feeling safe. On the other hand, changing too much can be risky. Personally, I'd love to see IVE lean into a more mature confidence. Not necessarily darker, but more assured. Less proving themselves, and more owning the space. IVE has already proven they can dominate charts. Now it's about defining longevity. What kind of concept do you want from this comeback? Elegant, powerful, dreamy, or something totally unexpected? I'm genuinely curious. During these 6 months, IVE hasn't exactly disappeared. They've been active with endorsements, events, and individual schedules. But musically, this break has allowed people to sit with IVE SECRET and really absorb it. That's important because it creates space for growth. Starship mentioned that the members are currently busy preparing for the album, which suggests hands-on involvement. And that's something fans care about more and more these days. People want to feel like idols are connected to their music, not just performing it. I also think this preparation period could mean that the company is aiming for something more refined. When agencies rush comebacks, it shows. But when they take time, even if they don't reveal details immediately, it usually means there's a bigger plan behind the scenes. One thing that stands out about IVE is how naturally global their success feels. Their chart performance outside Korea isn't accidental. Songs like XXXG resonated internationally because they balance accessibility with identity. They don't feel like they're chasing Western trends, but they also don't feel locked into one sound. That's why their upcoming world tour schedule matters. In April, IVE will hold their second world tour concert at Kyocera Dome Osaka in Japan. Kyocera Dome is not a small venue. Performing there is a statement. It signals confidence in ticket power and fan loyalty. To me, this world tour placement after the comeback suggests that the new album will be performance-focused. Songs designed not just for streaming, but for live stages, crowd reactions, and long-term replay value. If you're planning to see IVE live, I'd love to know where. And if you've already seen them before, how was the experience? This end of February comeback feels like a turning point. Not a restart, but a reinforcement. IVE is entering a phase where they're no longer just competing with peers, but with their own past success. The way this album is received will shape their narrative for the rest of the year. Strong results could solidify them as one of the defining groups of their generation. A safe but forgettable release could slow momentum. And a bold, divisive choice could spark debate but also deepen their artistry. Personally, I think IVE is in a position where they can afford to take risks. They've built enough trust with listeners that even a surprising concept would still get attention and discussion. And honestly, discussion is power in today's music industry. Now I want to hear from you. What are your expectations for IVE's comeback at the end of February? Do you think they'll stick to what works or surprise us with a new sound? Which member do you think will stand out this era? And do you feel the pressure too? Or are you just excited to see them return? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them, and they always make these conversations more fun and meaningful. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more K-pop comeback discussions like this, make sure to support the channel. This has been On Young Buzz, and I'll see you in the next video.